What's going on, guys? Sam Richards here, SJR Fitness. I wanted to do an honest account of my experience because I've learned quite a lot, and I mean, following some great people on YouTube. Obviously I'm pretty much new, but some good guys to follow for some basic background advice. I'm not going to be giving the details, side effects, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be running you through my experience and my advice with RAD-140, a non-androgenic selective androgen receptor modulator. So if you want to go and learn all the basics, go watch Greg Doucette. It's the only source of SARMs information I'd really recommend. Brandon Harding can be alright, you know, those guys, but honestly, they just don't. They give top level information. They've been told basically how to take these things. You want to go straight to the source. He's an IFBB pro, so he knows what he's talking about, but he's not a doctor. So again, I am not a doctor. I am not qualified to advise you. SARMs are not for humans, so just don't take them. This is anecdotal advice only. It's for entertainment. If you are a research scientist, then maybe, yeah, we can say that it's for you, but otherwise just stay away. So with that in mind, RAD-140, basically my only experience with any form of anabolics before this was pro hormones, probably about 4 years ago now. 4 years ago now, I think. Didn't do it well. I was young, I was naive. I had an okay-ish base, but I'd only been working out for a couple of years, far too early. Everyone who knows anything about anabolics knows that pro hormones are pretty much the devil in the world anyway. They are not effective, really, and the side effects are huge. I think my natural test was suppressed for a long time because I was stupid enough to run a natural over-the-counter PCT. Obviously, most people who do pro hormones don't have access to stuff like Novadex, Clomid, which you need to take to restore your natural testosterone. They take pro hormones because they don't have access to anything. If they had access to Nova, chances are they have access to AAS, anabolic androgenic steroids. Unless they're just too scared to inject anything, in which case, good luck if you need HCG. So back to SARMs, back to RAD-140. What was my cycle? My cycle, I started off basically at 10 milligrams, following Greg's advice really that you should start on the lowest possible dose. You don't want to get your body used to a huge dose, you know, the max dose. It's called the max dose for a reason. So if you start off at 20-30 milligrams, chances are you'll be on 40 milligrams on your next cycle because your body's just used to it already. Started off on 10 milligrams. After about, to be honest, after about a week, I noticed that I was starting to get the effects. I was getting, you know, the aggression in the gym only, really. Things started to irritate me a little bit outside the gym, but nothing I can control. If you can't control it, you've got other problems. You shouldn't really be taking anything that's gonna make you more aggressive. So if you're the kind of guy who likes to fight on a Friday night, I'd probably stay away, to be honest. You're going to become a massive douchebag. So yeah, about a week in, you start noticing the effects. You start noticing the water in your body is moving towards your muscles. They'll start to feel inflated, but you won't necessarily gain much weight. In this first week or two, I did gain weight really infrequently. It would be just up and down on the scale. My body clearly wasn't used to this, and my diet wasn't quite the level it should have been. I was still coming off a cut, so I was going into a bulk, and it's not a very good time to do it. I think you should be a bit into your bulk beforehand, because it's always trial and error for me how many calories I need. The calculators online just don't give me an accurate reflection. I'll end up losing weight on stupid amount that I'm meant to be gaining weight on. So I'd say whatever cycle you're doing, cut, bulk, stay into it for a while before you jump on. If you're on a constant lean bulk like I'm doing now, it's fine. You can just jump right in. So yeah, a week in, started to feel the effects, but I noticed that the muscle building effects it wasn't really going to be great on 10 milligrams, and I knew that, and it was only really to warm my body up. So I jumped pretty much straight away to 15 milligrams. I bought 5 milligram capsules, really annoying to take once you get up to the higher dosages, so try and get a higher concentration if you can, but it worked for me, and definitely works for beginners, so try and get a lower dose, but don't obviously get ripped off. 15 milligrams for about 2 weeks then. 2 weeks? 3 weeks. I really started to see it kicking in at 15. I think that 15 milligrams is a great beginner cycle. It gave me that pump, that aggression. It just hardened me up everywhere. It's where I started to see my rear delts and traps coming up. Obviously the big anabolic side effects that you see is that the receptors in your traps and shoulders just blow up. My shoulders were always nicely shaped, but they were never full and hard really, but they had that shape that I had the genetic potential to pack on muscle there and them to become, I guess, boulder shoulders you'd call them. So really started to see that happen. Arms, not much of a difference. Chest started to get, obviously the line there started to come up more. I started to get hardening of the muscle in the chest, really defined. I was getting cuts, you know, in my chest, which is just, it's the first time I've really seen that level of detail. And I think that's because I was lean bulking, so I didn't have much body fat. You can really see the results more when you're at somewhere between sort of 10 to 15% body fat. Anything above that, you might just look a bit puffier. Now, RAD is a good drug if you are above 15% body fat, because it's a dry gainer, so you're not going to gain a lot of water, but still I'd say try and stay below 15% body fat if you're going to do anything. Otherwise it's just your nutrition just won't work well with an anabolic cycle. So 15 milligrams really good. Great. I think that by this point I'd gained about 3 kilos, so about 6 pounds, 6-7 pounds. My lifts were going up massively. I decided this was the best time to properly start my compound lift trainings, and I mean I did compound lifts before, but I never really had the form correctly, so I studied a lot of powerlifting techniques. I think everyone who tries SARM should definitely practice power building if you're a bodybuilder. Do not do lightweight high reps, because you might look good after a session, but trust me, that weight won't touch the muscle. It's just got superhuman ability. It's crazy. So yeah, I think I upped my deadlift to about 150 kilos, something like that, from about 100. Anything above 100, my sciatic nerve and glutes would just give in. So I had to do some foam rolling, but also I noticed that issue was pretty much alleviated the whole time I was on RAD, and still is actually. So then moving into the sort of third quarter of the cycle, I moved up to 20 milligrams. Again, crazy step up. Doing it in this staggered approach really, I think, gives you the best gains that you can possibly expect. Hadn't gained any fat because I hadn't done a hard, quick bulk. I was leaning out every day. I think I started off the cycle at 78 kilos and 15% body fat, and I finished my cycle at 82.2 kilos and 13% body fat. So that's crazy. That recomposition ability is stupid. Even on, I think even throwing in a fat burner would have been pointless. You know, I wouldn't want to get much more cut, because then just bulking just wouldn't have made much sense. I wouldn't have been eating enough calories, and my goal is to slowly grow muscle, so if I'd have cut any more, I just think that it would have been a bit of a waste of the muscle building potential of RAD-140. So yeah, I upped my calories again. I was having shakes with 2 bananas, peanut butter, milk, you know, full fat, 2 scoops of protein, oat bars, crazy stuff, and I was feeling amazing. You know, once I'd eaten carbs, pumped up everywhere. I like it, and I think that I see why a lot of people move from SARMs to steroids, because RAD-140 gives you the amazing feeling all the time. Once I was up to about 15-20 milligrams a day, I just felt incredible. all the time, like I was ready to go. It does mean that it's hard to take your mind off the gym, so I found that work was more difficult, but I focused still. Nothing out. My work didn't suffer, but it's just that like you get really pumped up when it starts to hit 12 o'clock and you're about to hit the gym, and you kind of can't wait to leave for that. But I love my job, luckily, so it wasn't too bad for me. Last few days I pumped up to 25 milligrams just to finish off the bottle, really. Now I've been on my PCT of Nolvadex 20 milligrams per day for about 2 weeks now. The recomposition's fully done for my PCT. You know, the water weight starts to move back around, and your final lean gains start to show up about sort of week 3. So I'm starting to go back to not normal. I'm much better now after the cycle, but I can feel that my muscle's sort of in the place where it's going to stay for the next however long, because I'm not at my natural limit, so I should keep most of this. So there you go, guys. That was my cycle. I'm based in the UK, so there are some supplement websites which do sell good RAD-140. I will not talk about the sources. Unfortunately, it's just something that I don't want to play around with. They're not for human consumption anyway. You shouldn't be buying these things. But my big advice, based on the questions that I've seen on other videos, is do not do any SARMs at all, not even Ostarine, if you do not have access to PCT. PCT can be purchased online, I know that for a fact, and it is proven quality. Do some searching on Reddit, for God's sake. Do your research. As I said, I've been lifting for 6 years. I've only done 1 cycle of pro hormones before, and I've been researching anabolics for the last 3 years of my lifting, because I know that one day I'm going to have to jump on them. So I've got enough experience to know that I'm prepared going into it for any eventuality. I know what to do if I get gyno, know what to do if my testosterone is suppressed, and I have access to Nolvadex if I need it afterwards, which I did. And I would say most people will on anything other than Ostarine, and even Ostarine, if you're getting up to the higher levels, you're going to need it. So get your blood work done. NHS, if you're in England, is amazing. They will do blood work for testosterone, etc. whenever you want it. Don't believe that they don't help. They just won't prescribe you anything if it comes up badly, unless you then need TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. If your testosterone doesn't come back, then they might help you, but they won't prescribe you Nolvadex or Clomid. You need to be able to find that yourself. Check in with your doctor. Practice power building, increase your weight, because you will never get the opportunity to increase your lifts that quickly again, unless you jump on another cycle, of course. So yeah, practice all the compound movements, lift big, lift heavy. You need to really work on shocking your muscle, and you will be surprised how much you have to eat. So up those calories. Mine are set around 3,200 on PCT now, and I'm still losing body fat, so I need to up mine even more, which is ridiculous because I find it very difficult to eat that much, even though I'm like a hoover. So guys, just be serious about this. These things are close to steroids. Your hormones will likely get fucked up, but if it's worth it for you, you've got to make a judgment call. I wouldn't recommend doing anything, of course. But yeah, get hold of everything you need beforehand, because if you panic, if your testosterone shut down, you need to quickly jump and find a PCT, and you can't find it, that's some long-term health shit right there that you're gonna have to deal with for likely the rest of your life. So be careful. Although it may come back after a year or so, you will lose more gains than you got on the cycle if you cannot get access to that stuff. Keep lifting heavy. If you've got any questions about my cycle, about the side effects, there were some, but I didn't really want to go into this. I just wanted to give my overall review. Side effects were mild for me. Quick overview, but I'm happy to go into more detail if you want to know in the comments below. Cheers.